when I'm gonna travel, I want to make sure like I'm comfortable. Like if anything happens, I'm good. What does that mean? Well, like financially,
Yeah.
physically, mentally. Like, hey man, if I'm not in a good headspace, I really may need to go away, or I need to sort some stuff out before I go away. If I got crickety knees and a lower back, and I'm like 75 pounds overweight, I'm not ready. Because especially if I go overseas, it's not built for American folks. They don't have double and triple XL.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? If you got a spouse that's a fuddy-duddy, it's gonna be a problem because they're gonna nitpick everything, and then again, the perspective is gonna shift because this booty hat is in the room and there's cloud and everything around you. So you gotta be even stronger to have a good experience. Hot mess. I was telling Brian before we started, I was like, look, I had a nap and it went too long. And that's the worst, man. I got outside of my own bound. I got outside of myself and I went outside of my 20-minute mark. But that's a whole other episode. Today, okay, at the time of this recording, we are welcoming our guy, Brian, back.
I am back, alive and well. Alive and well. A little more wisdom. Hopefully, I like to think. At least I like to think I have a little more wisdom after this. After this trip, it was beautiful, man. For those who don't know, I was out in the Middle East. I was in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and then I went to Egypt, and then I was in Jordan. I absolutely love Jordan. That was my favorite. Egypt was really cool with the. You grew up reading books about the pyramids and the pharaohs and everything like that, and seeing that up live was amazing. But something about the Jordanians, beautiful people, food absolutely amazing, and I just love the country.
Nice.
So, it's good to be back. It's good to be back.
I can imagine. And listen, I'm happy you're back because for people that are watching, thank you for joining us. It's the More Than Black or White Health podcast, and today we are talking about how travel impacts your health and well-being. Reason why we're talking about this is because this podcast is about helping you be an advocate for your health and well-being. Outside of you getting your meds, outside of you getting all the stuff that they want you to be on, this is about you getting aligned to other ways of managing your health and wellness. And travel is one of them. We're going to talk about that today, because our guy B is the guy to talk to about this, in my perspective. And after this podcast, you'll realize the same. So we're going to go through today some things. Get your notepad out. Get your notepad out. Take some notes. And if you're like, I don't like to travel, Paul, shut your mouth up. And then you just sit down there and listen. I'm not in that way, but like seriously, if you say to yourself, I don't like to travel, please give this a chance. Okay, give this a chance. And afterwards, you may still be like, that was a waste of my time. That's okay. You probably learned something. All right, so that's up to you. Yes. Yeah. So listen, like, share, subscribe, and bless up to you. And let's get it kicked off. B, first of all, man, since I remember when I met you at Lifetime, you told me back then, like you like to travel, but you're like, I want to travel and experience different spaces and people. Yeah. And I was like, well, giddy up, bro. And I remember us talking about some things and you say where you want to go. And if I had written down everywhere you said you wanted to go, I'd probably say that you've gone to, like, you're most likely high up on the list on what you've accomplished, bro, on where you've went.
Yeah. I've checked off a lot of things. My goal is to see every single country. So it's funny because, like, I remember, like, my dad used to take me to Germany every single year up until I was the age of 10.
What?
Because he was from Germany. He grew up in West Germany. So every single year he would take me to Germany. And in the first 10 years of your life, like, you don't want to go to Germany. Like, you want to go to Disney World. Like, you don't appreciate it. And I remember the last time he took me to Germany was December of 1989. And the reason that date is important is because a month earlier, November 9th of 1989, the Berlin Wall went down. So I remember being out there in Berlin with a 10 years old with a pickaxe, having pieces, chopping off pieces of the Berlin Wall, which I have behind me right now. But at the time, I didn't appreciate it. And then that was the last time I ever traveled internationally anywhere. And then when I was working at Lifetime, I got invited for like a free trip to go to Puerto Rico. And at the time, I really never had the urge or the bug to travel. It was kind of like, oh yeah, it'd be cool. I mean, it's always been adventurous. Somebody invited me, I would go, but like I just never had it. I never had that bug. And I remember going to Puerto Rico, part of the US, and just being out there. I remember walking the beach one night by myself. I went with a couple of friends, and I was like, I just want to, have a little bit of alone time, recharge my battery. And I remember just like it hit me then, just like being alone in an area that I didn't know anybody, and just being around different culture. It's like, this is what I want to do. And it's funny that when I came back, I was a trainer at Lifetime at the time, and I was going to quit Lifetime, and I was like, how do I travel for free? Because I didn't have any money. So actually, I put in an application to be a trainer on a cruise ship that would be gone for 7 months. So I had like $100 to my name, and I spent $50 for this application, and they didn't even call me back. And then, so it's like, all right, whatever. So, and then I started making a little bit of money, enough to kind of scrap by. And I was dating this woman. We decided to do one day, hey, let's go to Mexico. That was my first place I ever went to. Absolutely loved it. She wasn't really big into traveling. And then maybe 3 years after that, we went to Italy together. We had fun, but she just not a travel person. She doesn't like this. The woman I was dating at the time didn't like to really go outside her comfort zone. Wasn't that adventurous. And I didn't really have that much money. And then after, yeah. And then after COVID hit, we wind up breaking up. And then 2021, I really started my traveling. And since 2021, going now 4 years, going almost 3.5, 4 years, I've been to 40 countries in that time.
Damn. And wait, since 2021.
Yeah, about summer of 2021 till now, I just hit my 41st country. So, so I've been putting in the work. I love it, man. I love it. And it's not about just checking boxes. I went to this country. It's like being immersed in the culture, and just I absolutely love it. Even if it's a week at a time, or sometimes I'm only in a place 4 or 5 days, but just, man, it's awesome. So my goal is to see every single country.
So, damn, bro. Every time, I swear to goodness, it's I'm gonna start doing more podcasts like this, more so we can learn more about each other, because I had no idea that you were going to Germany as a kid, and actually took have a piece of the Berlin Wall. For some reason, I never knew that. That's freaking fresh. So I want to touch base on something specifically when you had that moment on the beach in Puerto Rico, right? When you were like, oh, jump, this is it. And then later on in the experiences, you were saying there was this cult, being in the different cultures. So can you share, B, for you, man, what's the impact being in a different space, different country has on you, as far as your development, man, your personal development, bro?
Yeah, I mean, as far as a perspective goes, and just mental growth, imagine being most of us are just kind of I wouldn't say raised in small towns, but they're raised in these tight knit groups.
Yeah.
Then imagine taking somebody out and you put them in Angola for a week.
Yeah.
They're going to have a culture shock, and they have there's no choice but to grow somehow in a positive way. They might not like it in the beginning, but they're going to grow. So it challenges your comfort zone. So, you just have more. I like to be all right, look at a map and well, what's an area of the world that I don't really know too much about? Right. And I just like to point at it. I'll do my research. I don't go into ignorance. So every country has its dangerous spots. Listen, I can drive 15 minutes down the road to somewhere in New Jersey, and I know I'll get robbed there right away. You just got to be smart at doing it. and be smart at looking at it. So I do a lot of like, I don't listen to, I don't like Google things. I watch like YouTube tutorials, not tutorials, but YouTube documentaries on people that have traveled to these places and what areas are safe to go and what are not. But you challenge your comfort because listen, even to this day, like if I'm going to a country by myself, like, yeah, I get nervous. Of course I get little butterflies. I'm like, all right, like, I don't know who my driver is. I don't know, I know his name because I hired a driver, but like, I don't know where they're going to take me. If this guy is shady, if this is not, am I going to have trouble at the airport? Am I going to get robbed? It is what it is, but it challenges you to expand your comfort zone. And what's good about that is like when I come back, the little issues that I think are big in my business, they're not really that big compared to kind of what I went through. So I like to we talked about this in the past. Like I like traveling where I have like optimal anxiety, just enough to push me, but not enough to like, all right, fuck this. I'm not going here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
B, so I had to switch this up a little bit because I think this is what's more in alignment with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a cultural immersion, but what I'm hearing you saying, it expands, expands your perspective. Because I remember, like, because when you said, I remember you like a couple places that you went. It's escaping me right now. But I remember you saying like people are like, what are you going there for? And you're like, why not? Like so, and I remember your perspective on it was so different. Even when you came back and you were sharing the experiences, you're like, oh yeah, this was kind of crazy. But you know what happened was, and I'm like, damn, bro, you could have been shot. What the hell? You know what I'm saying?
I just got back. We have a few months ago. I went to Senegal and Gambia, and I knew nothing about these countries. Like, I mean, I knew very little about it after doing a little research. But I was like, all right, West Coast of Africa. I always wanted to kind of go there. And I remember crossing the border from Senegal and going into Gambia, and I had to stop and get my passport stamp with a visa. And they literally pulled up to like this marketplace. It was like almost like an intersection. They're like, the guy's like, all right, get out of the car and go ask that guy, and that guy will tell you where to go and get that guy. And I'm walking around. I mean, I am white. I'm like Irish white, red hair, 6 feet tall. And I was by far, man, everybody looked at me and they're like, what the hell are you doing here?
Like,
and of course,
of course
they see me and they automatically think I have money because I'm white, in those countries, so everyone's coming up, the kids are coming up and they're like, I'm literally like mobbed by everyone. Right. But like, it was cool. I mean, I was like, it was fun, and I was like, all right, this would be something I'll talk about. But I remember, the guy stamping my visa. He's like, what are you doing here? Like, who'd you come with? You're not by yourself, are you? I'm like, no, I got a driver. And he's like, all right, I would, get a high step and get moving.
He's like, get out of here right now. They already told people to rob you.
Yeah. But
I think that's, bro, that's huge, bro, because when we were pre-gaming for a little bit, I think that's one of the things that prevents people from traveling is the our thoughts can be intrusive, and like our mind can be like, oh my God, I can't go there. But I think part of it, Brian, is one of the reasons, in my judgment, the reason you're able to have these experiences because of the mindset that you go into it with.
Yeah.
See, like oh my God, I hope
I like to think out of it is like, so I had this conversation with somebody maybe about a year ago. I forgot where I was, and he made a good analogy. He's like, most people have a worldview and it's like a black and white photograph. Every time you travel, that black and white photograph gets a little more color, gets a little more depth, gets a little new dimensions. It's more vivid and it's more meaningful for you. So I thought I always thought about it like that. So even like when I'm traveling to places that I'm like, I don't bring my wife to a lot of places. I don't want her to be around. Like I wouldn't bring my wife to Gambia, like I just don't want to, not that I think anything would really happen. I just don't want to have that extra level of stress. And, like she more comfortable vacations. I'm like, yeah, just throw me in a hut in the middle of like the Sahara. I'll be all right. She'd be like, "Where's the Hilton?"
Like, are we getting room service?
Yeah, we get room service out here. You know. But it like again, as far as new perspectives go, like it challenges your comfort zone. It encourages adaptability because you have to always kind of adapt. Like one thing like anybody will tell you that's like a travel agent, it's like you got to pack your patience with certain things, with certain countries. You have to pack your patience. Things will go wrong. I've gone to the airport like probably like 3 times in the last 4 or 5 years, and they were like, this isn't filled out correctly, or well, we made a mistake, your flight got bumped, or whatever. Like, and then you get to the hotel, and I've been to, like, remember that Kosovo story I was telling you? I get to the hotel and be like, oh yeah, we double booked you, please leave. And it's like, can you at least tell me where to go? Like,
like, can I talk to your manager? This customer is trash.
But like something like always go wrong. Something will always go wrong, or like it's a little irritants there, but it makes you adapt. Like it's just easier to handle things when you get back to the States, and and you're dealing with your everyday nuances. It just you don't stress out as much, and again, it reduces rigid thinking, because you just, like, for example, like you go to Europe and they prioritize their work totally different. I mean, these people take like a 2-hour nap during the day. They don't care. Like I've been to places where they're like, it's like, we get to the restaurant and they'll be out there smoking a cigarette. I'm like, you work here? They're like, oh yeah, I'm owner. I was like, yeah, we're not going to be open for another couple hours. And these people are just like, they don't have money, but they don't want to work, because they like, so it's like it's every culture is a little different. Like they're more worried about their health and well-being than actually hustling and making money like we do over here.
Yeah, bro. So I just wanted to reframe that, because you're like, they don't want to work, but like, yo, that's the culture. They're like, yo, like we prioritize. I'm chilling, man. I'm watching the football match, man.
Yeah, and I don't want to say they don't want to work because they're lazy, because that's definitely not the case. They just like, hey, this is my time. I have scheduled out. I'm taking my time. I don't care how much you pay me. This is important,
Bro, and that's important, bro. And I want to pause for a second, because there's a lot of wisdom here, and I want to pause on a couple of things to make sure people are picking it up. I want to rewind a little bit when we were talking about when you come back and how your perspective and approach to business is different. Like some things that you thought were big were not. Like, and I want to touch on that in the mental growth, but I sense that feeds more into, after you've gone somewhere to travel, like your mental capacity, your faculties, you increase your creativity and how you address and deal with different things, how you see different things, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like when I go away, I'm blessed that we live in the tri-state area. It's super hectic out here, And I mean, I've been to places like Bangkok, which is absolutely crazy. Tokyo is absolutely crazy as far as like everyone's in a rush. But like I've also been to places like when I go away, just say, for example, like North Macedonia. When I was out in the Balkans, everyone's like, it's just like easy. Everything's so easy going. No one, they don't stress as much. So it's like, and then you automatically start adapting to that kind of behavior, because you don't want to, if you're 99 people are just relaxing and chilling, and you walk in that group, you're going to be the 100th person that's going to be relaxed and chill. Their energy is going to bring you down a little bit. It's going to, kind of even keel you. So when you come back from an environment like that, and you have all these things that like you left behind that were kind of stressful, you can take a step back and you're just like, all right. Then when you become more even keeled, you look at it with like a slower mind, or mind that's not like going 100 miles an hour. You find the answers to the problems a lot easier, and you find more creative ways to do it because you're slow. It's kind of like, just like, this. It's like, sympathetic nervous system. If a tiger jumps out, that's not a great time to start being creative. You get the hell out of there. It's not like we talk about. It's not a good time to start writing poetry and writing love letters. You get the hell out of there. Write up a business plan.
Right, exactly.
So,
Yeah,
you
bro.
know,
It's like hark.
or,
I'm gonna write something right now. This lion's tiger's gnawing on my
yeah.
freaking leg. Good God
Mm-hmm.
Almighty! But I swear to goodness, man, this is like this is really I think it's so cool to that we're talking about this because people. I'm just gonna speak this out however it comes out. People can sometimes look at travel as like a luxury. And
Yeah.
I know for me, I've seen it as that I've seen it as that as
Mm-hmm.
well. And like almost like there's a part of a deservedness as I'm talking about it where I'm like, I'll get to it, or like, nah, I gotta work before I can get there. And I think it's very important to know how important very important to know how important. I think it's key to know. Listen, getting away and traveling and having different experiences helps a person reconnect to themselves in a way.
Yeah.
So because bro, I know when you traveled and done some journeys and stuff like this. Like and you've posted pictures in some beautiful place. You posted pictures. I think you were walking with a lion and shit.
Yeah, that was identical. Yeah.
Yo, monkeys were freaking. I don't know.
Attacking me.
You were
Yeah.
taking pics with some lions. I was like, yo, is this AI, son? This is crazy. I'm like, yo, please come back. I'm praying to God.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, help protect Brian, like you did Jonah and the whale. No, but I'm like, yo. So can you talk about that for a bit, man? Because I know you've been to some places, even when you went to take the trip into
Mm-hmm.
the cave. Can you talk about what the experience was like to like connecting to nature and then reconnecting to yourself? Can you share that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, it's like I don't even know where to begin. So, like, yeah, I mean, it definitely like being in nature. It's like think of it as like like a phone battery. You know, if you don't unplug it and recharge it, eventually you're gonna run on empty. And nature's like the ultimate charging station. So
Mm,
like when I like to try to book trips out, you know, every like personally, if it was up to me, I'd be out of the country every month, you know, for like 2 weeks, come back for 2 weeks. But like, you know, I got a wife and kid now, so it's like I can't really do that too much. But I like to try to plan something. I think that's the most important thing too, is like always have something to look forward to, whether it's like 6 months or 8 months away or a year away, like plan something, book something, to have something to look forward to. A lot of us are just like miserable, depressed because they have nothing to look forward to. They just what they look forward to is the weekend. That's it. They
yeah.
they they live on, you know, Friday night, Saturday, and then Sunday. They're not even that happy because they know they got to work the next day. You know, so if you have something to look forward to, that plays a big role in your you know your motivation, your dopamine, your you know your serotonin, your everything, and it's gonna have an impact on your life as far as like you know your business and your health, relationships and everything like that, and yourself. But you know,
Yeah.
as far as with nature, like man, like it just it does something to you. I don't know like scientifically what it does to you, but just like it calms you down, it resets you. It's like a dose of oxytocin where you just feel loved, and it's just it can like it just puts you such in a it balances you out, creates homeostasis in the body. It puts you just in such a calming environment where you can be more creative, you get more in tune with yourself, you know, all those tough questions like what am I doing here? What's my purpose? You know, like what can I do like to live a fulfilling life? I feel like it answers you. Some of you probably out there like, what the hell is he talking about? But unless you do this, it's like
No,
it,
bro. And
it
sometimes,
might be tough to understand. That's why it's hard to put in words. It's hard to put in words. Like you know,
bro,
it's almost like, you know, like, and I hate to, not that I hate to use it, but it's like when somebody's like, oh, how was that psychedelic trip? And describe it to me. You can't put it in words,
get out of my head, Brian.
right? So you're
Stop
about
getting
to
in
say the
here,
same
bro.
thing? Yeah.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
about to
bro.
say the same thing, huh?
Yeah, bro. Because as soon as you said it, but until someone's gone through a psychedelic
Mhm.
experience, anything I say about the experience, they're gonna think is either gibberish or just like I'm talking out of my ass. But really, what it is, people, is like there is something about being in nature, and especially being in nature outside of your environment. Like, look, if you live somewhere and there's a tree outside of your house, that's technically nature. People fail to even take advantage of that. Yet when you go away somewhere, even some, like, listen, to be realistic, I'm going to speak the truth. There may be some people watching and be like, I've never been out of state. Okay, cool. Here's a great start. If you're in New Jersey, find like some woods in Pennsylvania or New York. It's about an hour and change away. And you go just walk. There's plenty of trails you can go. Like, I even found something on my phone today with like hiking, you know, I'm like, there's trails, because there's something about being in nature. And then when you can go away to that, like, I know for me, I've yet to really go away outside the country to nature. Like, I know, you know, there's some places that I do want to. But I remember when I went down to North Carolina and I was in the Pisgah Mountains and hiking through there, I was just like, yo, man, I felt like I was somewhere completely different.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing about going to different places, is that you can go to freaking Idaho and you wouldn't even know you're in Idaho. And guess what, people? We're in New Jersey. I bet you I could take, if you're from New Jersey, I could take you to parts of Jersey you wouldn't even think are Jersey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, bro? So it's like, listen, this is the thing to really think about, people. And when you can reconnect in this way, I think, Brian, you talked about something before in a lot of your travels, is like the connections that you make in your travels, man.
Yeah, when I went to the Sun Dung Cave in Vietnam, and the reason I went there is because it's the world's largest cave. And it was discovered maybe less than like about 15 years ago. And the way you get out there is you drive to this village, and then from there you do about an 8-hour hike through the jungle to get to this cave, because there's no roads. And on the way you're passing other villages and stuff like that. And I remember going out there, was like, I think we had 8 people in the group, and it was a torrential downpour. Like, it's like it was like Vietnam weather. It was just like you couldn't even, it was a couple of times where you couldn't even, it was raining so hard that you could barely see like 10, 15 feet in front of you. I've never experienced rain like that. So we're all kind of like close together so we don't lose anybody. Or the guy's like, all right, just in case it's like a flash flood, everyone stick together. There's a tree over there. I'll watch out and everything like that. So everyone was a little on high alert. Then we had to cross over rivers, which was like up to the waist. And people are like, oh, it's up to your waist. Not that bad. Dude, I'm 200 pounds, 6'1". Every time I lifted my leg, I felt like the water was going to take me out underneath. So we all had to like lock arms, and we had to like cross over, because it was 8 to 10 of us. And then there was like 15 guides. So it was really well put together. So we had this human chain going across. Then when we finally got 8 hours later, we got to it, we're totally drenched. And we're like, we're hungry. And then like, all right, 3 more hours of hiking. We got to get down the cave. We got to go up this hill. And it's not like it's like a path. Like, you're literally hopping on rocks back and forth. And like one movement, one wrong step, like you could break a leg, and no one's coming for you. Like they'll put you on a stretcher and they'll carry you back another 8 to 9 hours. And it creates like, when you're done with it at the end of 4 days, when you get through it, no shower, like you're just like, because you've been sleeping in tents, you're sweating because the humidity is like 100%, 90 degrees. And it's like, but you did it with like a group of people. Every single one of them I have on my phone. Like one's from like Israel, another one's from like Egypt, another one was like from, I met 2 brothers from Turkey who have like, their own YouTube channel that has over like 10 million followers. And people are like, yeah. So it's like, they're my people now. Like, we talk every once in a while, we shoot texts. Like, if I'm ever in Turkey, I hit them up. I was out there, I hit them up. We went out for lunch, and like, you make these connections all around the world. And I was just in Jordan. I met a guy in the Balkans maybe like 2 years ago. We hit it off. He lives in Amman. I reached out to him. We had dinner. It was awesome, man. Like, you make these connections all around the world.
I love that, bro. Yeah. It's like, as you were talking about it, there was such like a heightened sense of like I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word it is, but it was just like such a heightened level of engagement.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And you just create these bonds that like it's like yeah, these bonds like you like I can explain to you what it was like to go through it, but unless you've been there, it's tough.
it
You
won't be
know,
the same, bro.
it won't be the same. Like, you know, so
So, but so I'm curious too, though, man, because like when you and your wife, because like you did mention, like this is the first one, this is the first trip that you two have taken outside of the states, right? And I
yeah.
know you've done like you did it, yo. The Cali trip you took was tip top. I'm curious, like for the people out there, because one of the things you said, like you bring patience on a trip, but also, I mean, I think Bill Murray had this quote about like if you really want to know if this person's the one, travel abroad with them, right? Travel
Yeah.
abroad. So I'm curious for you, especially being in a relationship, and this was your anniversary trip that you went on in the
Yeah.
UAB or UAE.
Mhm.
What's that experience like? How can you talk about for you how that experience has strengthened your relationship, or what are the nuances in relationship that traveling has really worked into, man?
Yeah, so like one of the reasons we never traveled international is because when we got married last year, she had a Brazilian passport. So she wasn't allowed to leave she was allowed to leave the country, but she wouldn't be able to come back in.
Got it.
So, the paperwork finally went through and we were actually going to go out to Hawaii because we had our anniversary or honeymoon last year in Kauai. We were going to do Maui and Oahu this year, but we
Yeah.
wanted to really do international. And it was funny because we were going to book the trip on that Tuesday night. We're like, we decided that Sunday before. I was like, all right, Tuesday night, if the paperwork doesn't come in, we'll book the trip. So Tuesday morning, like, oh, no paperwork. All right, but we're going to book the trip to Hawaii. 2 hours later, about 6 hours before we were supposed to book the trip, the paperwork came through. And we're like, we're going to Egypt. Let's go. We're like high fiving each other,
Oh my
But
God, bro.
she's very adventurous. She wants to see everything too, and we both have that passion to do it. So that right there has a strong bond, And there's always, like my other ex, that when I started traveling a little bit with her before, it was like like. I'm like, come on, let's go to Italy, like do something like, what? And she's like, I don't know, like, I got this going on, I don't want to do it. And it's like, pulling teeth. Like, who the hell wouldn't want a free trip to Italy? Like, and it was just like and after we went, it was like it was fun. We had a good time, but it was just like, she like killed the mood the whole time with the
Yeah.
high energy. It's like all right, let's do this, and we're like we just love it, and it brought us closer. I mean, we're very close as it is. Um, do we get on each other's nerves? Yeah, like she's slow as shit sometimes. I tell her all the time so it's like
Yeah, man.
so she's slow at doing things, and sometimes I forget some things, and she yells at me or like, "Come on, you got to pay more." But it's like it's part of the fun, Like after 5 minutes, we're fine, and it's good. But
Right. Yeah. But who
you
do you go with, man? It's like, and that's a great point, right? Because if you're going with someone that's adventurous, like whether it's your spouse or your
Mhm.
friend, it's gonna make the trip better.
Yeah,
It's gonna make the trip better. If you're going with somebody that's a freaking fuddy duddy, it's
yeah,
gonna be a freaking problem. Like, bro, I won a work trip with a company I was with, and we got to go to Hawaii. And I remember was I married? I think I was married at the time. Yeah, I must have been married at the time. Yeah, I had to have been. Yeah, I had to have been at the time. So I remember I went with my wife, and bro, she was the worst, bro. She was the worst. Like my coworkers were like, I will always remember this time. Oh yeah, I would like to forget. But we were at a work dinner in Hawaii, man. The team, man, we just
Mhm.
whooped everybody's ass in the year, bro. We bring one of the
Mhm.
top teams in the country, and we're sitting here chilling, and she's over here like this.
Oh yeah,
And bro, like I was angry, and I was more just like frustrated, man, and sad. I'm like, yo, we're in Hawaii,
yeah. And then you're acting like this.
and you're
Yeah,
acting like a booty hat.
yeah.
What do you do? I wanted to just take her by the shoulders and shake her like, are you all right, girl? Are you all right? Bro,
Yeah, right there, I'd be like, I know this ain't gonna work out.
bro, I knew, bro. Listen, hey, you want to know where the relationship went after that?
Boom.
Crash. Here's your boy, a divorcee.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I think, listen, and it's so, I think because, man, bro, I'm really looking forward to being in that kind of relationship where, like, I'm traveling with my spouse and we just have a good freaking time.
Yeah.
You know what? They lost all your luggage. All right, cool. We'll just rock with this.
All good, man. Yeah.
I'm all right with it. All right, cool. Oh, you're booked. You're double booked. All right, yo, let's go get another hotel. Because listen, there's something about that, man. Like the being able to have flexibility in that, right?
You gotta be flexible.
You gotta be flexible, and you gotta have your modes of stress reduction. And why I bring this up right now is because for like when I'm gonna travel, I want to make sure like I'm comfortable. Like if anything happens, I'm good. What does that mean? Well, like financially, physically, mentally. Like, hey man, if I'm not in a good headspace, I really may need to go away, or I need to sort some stuff out before I go away. If I got crickety knees and a lower back, and I'm like 75 pounds overweight, I'm not ready. Because especially if I go overseas, it's not built for American folks. They don't have double and triple XL.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? If you got a spouse that's a fuddy-duddy, it's going to be a problem because they're going to nitpick everything. And then again, the perspective is going to shift because this booty hat is in the room and there's cloud and everything around you. So you got to be even stronger to have a good experience.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, there's been girls I dated, and they're like, "Oh, let's go here, let's go here." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not going away with you because I know it's gonna be great for like the first 6 hours. Then once one thing goes wrong, you're not gonna be able to recover, and something will go wrong. It might rain one day while you're out, and you're like, you're pissed off, or you lost a shoe or whatever like that. And it's gonna ruin the whole week. Like, that's why I'm very blessed to have Hayani in my life because we'd laugh at each other all the time, like when you have somebody else that has that adventurous spirit and wants to travel, it's awesome. It's awesome. So curious, what's your top 3 bucket list countries that you want to go to that you haven't been to yet?
I do want to go to Cairo or Egypt.
I
want to go to Cairo, Egypt. Yo, man, Uruguay. I don't know what
tell me that. Yeah.
I need to go. Maybe it's a past life. Or something. And wow. Yeah, it's a tie between Africa.
What part?
I want to go to Ghana, man. Like, I don't know what it is. I want to go check Ghana out, bro. Like, check my man Vic out. Vic, where you at, bro? So it's either Ghana or, bro, like Cuba, bro.
Cuba. Like, I just found out that you can't go there it's like you just can't get a passport or go there. You have to do a tour. You have to be part of a tour. Yeah, Hi and I were talking about Cuba. Yeah.
Yeah, and bro, my paternal grandmother is Cuban. So it's like there's something about that, and like it really was high on my list. But then like this pull to Uruguay has been coming up. And I think it's like I'm like, dang, I don't know what it is, but I'm just like I may go there and not come back, bro. So when I go, I better make sure I have a virtual job or something. And I'll be like, hey guys, what happened? I'm gonna be staying here for the rest of my life. So speaking of this, right, B, because we talk about on the podcast, we talk about finances, we talk about well-being, we talk about like how we live our lives in different ways. So when you're traveling, do you ever look at these places as like, hey, this is a place I could call home at some point, or are you just going solely for the experience, man?
I'm going for the experience. Like, there's been like a couple times where like when I was single, I was like, you know what, I can move out here. Then something came up in my life, and like, I mean, when I say move out there, like, hey, let's go out there for like 6 months, 6 to 8 months, and kind of like, I was looking at a place in Thailand, like about 4 years ago, Koh Samui, and it was like the second largest island in Thailand, right about near Phuket area. I was thinking about going out there, like, and like it's so cheap out there. Like I had this, like I was looking at this, like it was like a 3-bedroom on top of a cliff, all windows, like some like crazy, like 3,500 square feet, which I can rent out for $800 a month. And it was like, it's so cheap. Like some places, like people are like, and that's another thing. People are like, oh, I wish I had the money, I can travel. It's like after the plane ticket, like
You're good.
you go to Southeast Asia, if you spend more than $1,000 a month on rent and food and livelihood, like you're doing something wrong. South America, same thing. Like Africa, same thing. Europe's a little expensive in some spots. There are spots that are like cheaper, but like not having the money to live like that. Like if you're, I mean, for me, if I was single, and oh my God, I would live in a different country every 3 months.
Bruh,
I would just hop around. I would hop around.
Let me tell you, bro. I'm right there with you, man. Listen, once E is 18 and there's no I got no where's Paul? Don't worry about it, bro. I'll be doing this, sending spoke signals, communicating.
From Ghana.
From Ghana, bro. I'm fine. Don't come find me. That's what I'll be like, bro. I'll tell you right now. Shoot, bro. Because who was I just? The guy that runs this mastermind that I'm in. He was just in Costa Rica, and he's an older gentleman. He was saying, like, as I'm going to these places, yes, going to have fun, but it's also going to look at, like, hey, is this a potential destination for me when I want to retire? Because, like, I'm like you, man, dude. Like, my end game is when I retire, I want to have a couple spots I can go nestle in too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, right now I'm not thinking of that. Like right now I'm like I like coming home after like 2 weeks. I mean, like listen, it was probably one of the best vacations I took.
Yeah.
But like coming home, like I feel like this is my charging station. Yeah. My battery's on low. I need to charge, and like New Jersey does that to me. I don't know if it's maybe because I'm used to the environment, or I have like a lot of like friends and family around, whatever like that. I'm just like visiting my area. Yeah. But I like coming back here for a couple of weeks and just like kind of recharge my battery. But for me, like, might be like a Pisces thing. But when I retire, I got to be by water. Like I like tropical. I like hot weather. I like water. My wife is from Rio. She hates hot weather. I'm like, how do you from Rio and hate hot weather? I'm like an albino. Like I love the hot weather.
Wait, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, what? No,
exactly.
No, I think I heard you incorrect.
Like, oh my God, it's so hot out. It's like, I'm like, it's 83 degrees. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You live in like, the jungles of like, there's no jungles in Rio, but like, it's live in Brazil. Like, I'm like, man, you're like, your ancestors were like, in the rainforest, and you're complaining about 80-degree weather.
Yeah,
but so can't live too close to the equator, but yeah. But in May, we're actually going to go out we're doing a 5-week road trip. We're going to start in Lisbon, Portugal, and we're going to go all around Spain and Portugal and do that. So Portugal, yeah, Portugal. I would, I could probably settle down there because I'm learning Portuguese. My wife speaks obviously fluent Portuguese, being from Brazil, and it's like a 6-hour flight, I want to say, from there. Beautiful area of the world. People are cool. It's cheap. So like it's only like, again, it's a 6-hour flight back and forth. If there was one place I would probably live, it would probably be Portugal.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
I've heard amazing things about Portugal. I'm trying to remember this. I don't know, maybe it's not the same, but I think it is off of Portugal. There's like this island.
Yeah. Madeira. Is that how you say it? Madeira. I have a map on my wall. The Azores Islands.
Islands. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And the other one, where Cristiano Ronaldo grew up on this one island, Madeira. I think that's what it's called. Beautiful. But yeah, the Azores Islands in Madeira. Yeah, doing a quick Google search.
Yep.
Yeah.
My face when I'm on that.
Yeah.
On that piece. Damn, I'm trying to think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Madeira was okay. Dude, when you said, what was the first place you said?
Azores. Azores? Azores? I'm probably butchering it. I apologize to all my Portuguese and Spanish people out there.
Yeah, man, you jacking
Speaking
it up.
gringo, my gringo.
Yeah, you gringo
Mm-hmm.
dude. But no, I'm not sure what it was, but I know a friend of mine went.
Mm-hmm.
He showed me pictures. He was like, yeah, it's Azores. I think that's what it is. Yeah, in Madeira. But he showed me these pictures of this island and the scenery, and I was like, bro, I'm like sitting here at the pics, like, oh my god, I think I was holding on to his phone looking at pics for like 30 minutes, bro. Literally, I'm like,
beautiful.
It's absolutely stunning, man.
And that's the thing. Like every country has its beauty. Every country, like, is not. It's like everyone like thinks like, oh, I like like go to Southeast Asia and you go to one country, it's all the same around that area. No, like every country has its like own unique fingerprint, and that's why it's like that's like I want to see every country. I want to experience all the cultures. I want to and what one of the things I like doing too is like where I just was is like you meet tribes. Like when I was out in Jordan, I was in the Wadi Rum, and I forgot the name of the tribe that kind of like. So, are you familiar with Wadi Rum? What it is? Kind of like it's almost like a huge desert. So, you ever see the movie Martian with Matt Damon?
Yeah.
Where he's on Mars. That's
Yeah.
where they shot it. I was actually standing there. That's where they shot it. Like Lawrence of Arabia. I want to say the Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark was out there. I think that's one of the things that was out there. Star Wars movies. So they run everything out there. And I was like, I was having conversation when I was eating dinner with him one night. And I'm like, how many people do you have in your group? It's like, our tribe is like 3,000 strong. I was like, holy crap. I was like, okay. I was like, it's like, you have any, how many brothers and sisters, cousins do you have? And he goes, I have 1,257 cousins. I'm like, wait, what? I thought it was like, I was like 12 cousins. He goes, no, 1,257. I'm like, explain that to me. He's like, oh, my great grandfather came out here from Saudi Arabia, and he with his wife, and we're all descendants of those two people. So, and he's like, and they were like, oh, it was such amazing people. And then like in the wintertime, they sleep down in their camps. They have schools and everything like that. I saw kids playing soccer out there, basketball. And then in the summertime, they take like how we would go to like the Jersey Shore for the weekend. They would go up in a cave and sleep. There's like big holes in the cave and big holes in the mountains, and they would just sleep up in the caves and they would just chill. And they have zero stress whatsoever. I'm like, he's like, yeah, we don't even think about what we're doing tomorrow. Like, you ask me what I'm doing tomorrow, like, I don't know. I might have a tour. I might, hang out with the kids. I might, drive around. I don't know. And it's like, but I'm like, and they have enough food. They have enough family around them. They have everything that they possibly need, and they have zero stress. But like, I like going, like when I go to Africa, or when I go to like South America, or when I go to like, the Southeast Asia, like you meet like tribes and you see the way they live, and like they all have one common denominator. They work hard, but they're not stressed.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and you bring that back. I bring that back with me. I bring that calmness back with me. And when I work on my businesses, I'm like, all right, like I try to bring that energy into my business. And when I do that, man, like it's almost like magic. Like things just always work out.
Yeah.
You're not overthinking it. It's almost like they just kind of sit back and let the universe just kind of handle everything. Just like hands off. Hey man, I'm just here for the ride. Let's see where we're going.
There it is, bro. Yeah. I think it's important to note something as we start to wrap this up, man. Like when people are taking on traveling, it's a willingness. Because what I'm hearing and what you're saying, like you're talking about all the beauties and everything about where you go. And I think it's important to note your willingness to see it.
Yeah. I think that's the beauty in it too, because you most people don't like to travel because, especially to unfamiliar areas, because it's out of their comfort zone. And then I've done that plenty of times where I'm like, I don't know about this place, and I go there, and it's like, oh my god, like I made like friends for like life, like, and I'm so glad I pushed myself out of that comfort zone, and then you start taking more chances. Like I think that's why a lot of people are like stuck in life because they don't have the courage to get themselves out of that comfort zone, you know, because they read like, some stupid, like, like there's a war going on. I shouldn't say the war going on in Gaza is stupid, but they'll watch a show or like CNN, they'll see like missiles firing in Gaza. Now, all of a sudden, everyone thinks the Middle East is dangerous because of that one area. That's like somebody like, where we are, like somebody got shot in Newark and be like, oh, I'm not going to the tri-state area. Like
Yes,
it doesn't make sense.
Context, right? It doesn't make sense. It's like,
yeah,
man. But I think that like you bring up a good point, man, because sometimes, and think about this, especially when we're talking about this with health and well-being standpoint. Sometimes the ability to travel is discouraged, or there's a wanting to steer you to travel in places that will distract and drain you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, listen, I'm all fan for like Disneyland and stuff like that, but I come to find out that when people go to stuff like that, a lot of times they put themselves in these situations just because they think it may be the place they have to go.
Yeah.
And sometimes the experiences that you can have from different places, man, from places that if you're willing to experience something, experience culture, and immerse yourself into something different, you can have an experience that could change your whole perspective on life.
Yeah. I don't like, I'm sure I'm going to ruffle a few feathers out there by saying this, but like, for me, it's like, I don't understand why or how, like, I understand Disneyland, go to Disneyland once, go get out of your system. But like people that go there, like with their families every single year,
bro,
and they spend tens of thousands of dollars to see, people dressed up in costumes, and you're spending, $15 for, a soda or whatever it is. They just spend so much money. I'm like, what are you getting out of it? Like, and listen, everyone has their own thing, but like, then people go down like the Jersey Shore and they get a weekend rental for like, $10,000-$15,000. I'm like, dude, you can literally spend a quarter of that, go to some country, immerse yourself in their culture for like 2 to 3 weeks off that. And I just don't get it. Like, I don't know. Yeah, drop it in the comments. I don't know. I don't get why people go to Disneyland every single year. I don't get why they get a shore house every single year, drive, an hour down to the beach at the Jersey Shore and spend all that money, but they won't go to like, Chile or, Morocco or, so, the Azores.
Bro, yeah, right. But bro,
Yeah.
listen, it's gonna come back to this, bro. People are locked in their perspective.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. Some of these people that go down the shore every year, right? Go to Disney every year. That's a tradition.
Yeah.
Right? So they're like, yo, man, listen, this is what we do. This is what we know.
Exactly. They're comfortable.
Right, bro. So
Yeah.
this is the thing. We're talking like, and this is people listen to this, bro, because if you want to go, like I personally, I have like anxiety around that many people, so I'm not going to Disney, and my kids don't want to go, so I'm good. Thank you. Sure, I don't like sand in between my feet or in my nutsack. Don't like it, so I don't see me on beach unless it's some secluded beach and I'm with some whatever. Well, that's another episode in my private files. Listen, but like you gotta remember when someone can say, I'm gonna do something different, there's a level of courageousness and willingness there, bro, because you gotta go outside of what you know. Like cats may, like, you think about it, right? When you look at, and this broke my mind when you just said it. People will spend like 15 G's on a rental for the summer, right? Or what it may be, bro. Some of these places like
a week,
right? A week, right? Crazy. They can go and have that same money and go to some completely far off spot, bro.
A third of that money.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's something to note, people. It's like it's more than black or white. in black or white, so you could do what you like to do. We're just saying, hey, listen, if you're used to traveling into a certain specific spot every damn time, do something different. Do something different. Notice what happens for you. Notice how that shifts your mind, your spirit, your whole constitution. Check it. It's a game changer. Being last words, Mr. Traveling Man?
I would love to one day, like I would see for the podcast, we talk about retreats. I would love to get something like every year we get like all the listeners and like anybody that wants to go, and we all go to like some country. We'll have somebody like kind of pick the country and we all go there. Maybe keep it like intimate, like 12 to 15 people, and just go. I think that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Maybe hike Machu Picchu one time. You know, that'd be cool.
You said nothing but a thing, bro. Let's go. Let's go. Passport coming, boy.
Yes.
Coming. And listen, this is something real, man, because we got a lot of things coming for you all. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you if you're new to the podcast. Mm-hmm. Thank you for checking in. Big things coming right now. So this right here, this is another seed planted. But remember, the book's coming, mastermind's coming. Be aware, be present. Thank you all for showing up. We appreciate you. Get your ass out in the world.
Peace.
Peace out. Bro, we got to also put an album out.